Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today here on the Grafix Arts YouTube channel. It's Laura from Media Makes by Elle, and I have a really fun art journal page to share with you today. So I'm going to be working on a piece of the wet Media Dura-Lar. This is a page from the mixed media journal, but you can see that it also comes in a pad form as well. And I'm going to be using a stencil here. Now, I've put the Dura-Lar on a piece of copy paper just to make it a little bit easier for the camera to pick it up. And I'm going to be applying some indigo blue, super thick, slap it on. This is like a clear texture paste, so any kind of clear medium would work for this. And it's just going to allow me to keep that butterfly area transparent on the Dura-Lar. So basically I'm using it as a bit of a mask really. So I'm just applying it with a palette knife. It's a nice creamy texture to work with. The challenge I had with my palette knife is because the stencil has quite a wide open area, I ended up overworking the paste and then I started rubbing some of it off. So I definitely think using a larger tool would have been easier with such an open stencil. Of course, if you were using a stencil design that's not as open as this, then you'd be absolutely fine using a palette knife. I do end up coming in with the Sizzix tool just to help me get a smooth finish. And then you can see it's got that creamy consistency, but I'm just going to pop it aside to dry. So once that's dry, you can see that we've got that lovely butterfly design that's nice and transparent there on the Dura-Lar. And I'm going to come in with some shimmer powders. Now these are just a few of the Nuvo shimmer powders. I'd got Cherry Bomb, Atlantis Burst and Falling Leaves, but I do end up swapping them out for some Colorology powders that I had in my stash from the Creative Craft Products line, just because they were a little bit more vibrant. Now, if you've got Lindy's Magicals, Brushes, anything like that, they'll work for this technique as well. But as you can see, the powders react with water and they create this beautiful rainbow effect of colour. I was impatient and I started moving the water around and ended up dabbing off some of the colour powder where I didn't want it to dry. And I just started making a mess really by fiddling with it. So the key to this technique is to add the powders, spray it with water and leave it. Just let it dry, because as you see, I just start creating a hot mess. And the more I mess with it, the worse it gets. So these are the Colorology powders now. You can see they're a lot more vibrant. But again, because I picked it up, I've moved all the powders, so I ended up spraying a little bit of water and then I just left it. And that really is the key here. Just be patient, leave it to dry. It may take a few hours depending on how much water you've added, but when it's dry, you get this gorgeous rainbow watercolory background on the image and it just looks so cool. Now, any powder that's on the butterfly, we can just wipe off with a little bit of damp tissue or a cloth. But I'm just going to work on the background page now. I'm going to use a piece of Dura-Bright white. So I've cut this down to 6x6 and I'm going to add some stamping using this Rubber Dance stamp set. This is the Mixed Media Marks stamp set. To do my stamping, I'm going to use some black acrylic paint. So I've just added some to my non-stick Tim Holtz mat. I've brayed it out and used that as kind of like my stamping base for this text stamp. And so I really want to create a really grungy background here. I'm going to add a few different stamps in the background. So I'm going to add this stitching stamp as well. And again, if you don't want to brayer on the paint to your stamp, you can just stamp it directly into the paint. You just want to make sure that it is a thin coat of paint on your mat. I've added that grid stamp too, and then I'm just going to use the mask from the stencil. So I'm going to carefully line it up with the butterfly on the wet Media Dura-Lar, and then I'm going to place that on the white Dura-Bright. And so I'm just lining it up so that I can then leave the mask behind. And then I'm going to add some more of these colour pop powders. So I'm just applying them to my non-stick mat. I'm going to give them a little spritz of water, and then I'm going to use a sponge, just a piece of craft sponge, to dab some of the colour around the edge of that mask. And this again is just going to really help keep that area of the butterfly nice and bright and white and really allow the butterfly design to stand out on the background and through the clear wet Media Dura-Lar. So once I've added the colour, you can see as they blend together, there's a bit of purple. I'm then just going to add some acrylic paint splatters. This is a colour pop from Pearlywinks, but I'm just taking the spray bit out and using that to splatter some white paint. And then I'm going to line up the stencil over the butterfly design and I'm just going to outline it with a white acrylic pen. This is from a Hoo-Hoo. And that's just going to, again, ensure that we keep that lovely crisp edge of the butterfly stencil in the design. And so as we put the two layers together, you can really see how that butterfly stands out. And all I'm going to do is take a pencil and just mark where each of those mushroom punch marks are for the disc binder. And then I'm just going to create my own. So I'm just using a hole punch here just to pop holes in all of those areas. And then I'm going to use my scissors and just trim out a little bit. I do have a mushroom punch, but it doesn't line up with the disc binder. And because it's an all-in-one punch, then I'm not able to create just single holes. So I'm able to just create them like that with a single hole punch and then my scissors. The sentiment says, if nothing ever changed, there'd be no such thing as butterflies. I've just printed that out on some white copy paper using my printer. And then I'm just trimming it down using my mini Tim Holtz paper trimmer. And I'm going to use the Artist-tac to adhere this down to the page. The Artist-tac is great for adhering things down, especially to clear pages, because it's just lots and lots of dots of adhesive. So you can just peel back one of the removable sheets, place your item down, burnish it by folding the sheet back over it, just to make sure that you've got good contact with the adhesive dots, and then peel them off and you can just stick them down like stickers. And they're permanent once they've been burnished down. So really great product. If you've not tried it, I definitely recommend it. So just to finish off this page, I'm just going to add a tiny bit more contrast with some white acrylic paint and a stars stamp from Rubber Dance, and then that's just going to finish off the page nicely. I just really felt that a bit of extra contrast would just benefit the design, but I definitely could have left those out, I think. But here's the finished pages for today. So you can see we've got that gorgeous transparent layer of the wet Media Dura-Lar. I absolutely love this. And using a clear paste as a resist has really created that fun design. And then obviously we've got the page underneath with all of that text and grunginess, again, just to finish off that design. So I really hope that this has given you some inspiration today. I hope that it's given you some encouragement to dig out your supplies and have a play. As always, all the products that I've used will be linked in the description box below. Don't forget to check out Grafix Art's website at grafixarts.com to find a supplier near you and to see more of their product range. As always, don't forget to leave me a comment, hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to the Grafix Arts YouTube channel if you're not already. And I'll see you in another video. Take care.